So there's an ongoing conversation in the group about where the addict is developmentally. One of the things that I realized through chemical addiction, so this is an awareness I've had for years, and it just is so plain with gaming addiction. There's a juncture in time where the person really is it goes from doing it a behavior to becoming an addict. And whatever that point in time is, wherever they're at developmentally, that's where they stop growing. So, what I mean by this is if your gamer becomes seriously addicted at 10, emotionally, you're dealing with a 10-year-old. They could be 30, 40, 50, but emotionally, developmentally, they're stuck at 10. They're stuck back there. And there's a lot of ways to figure that out through how they problem solve, how they think about things, how they communicate with you. There's all kinds of ways of discerning where where they're at developmentally. We talk about that a lot in the group because when parents come in, they're like, what do I do? What do I do? Kick them out? And so what I like to say is, well, we got to talk about some things and figure out kind of where they're at in their ability to problem solve and function in the world around them. Because if you've got a 30-year-old living in your basement and he's been addicted to gaming for 20 years, so he's functionally 9 years old and his problem solving skills are those of a 9-year-old, you don't put a 9-year-old out on the street. You just don't. My personal opinion, you know. So, but we talk about boundaries and we talk about things you can do to um, halt the negative impact of gaming addiction and encourage appropriate developmental growth. Um, and this is a very complicated, it is a very large subject. But I just wanted to put that out there that you really need, it's complicated. It really is. You really need to be thinking in terms of, okay, at what point in their development did they get stuck? And that may really give you some insight into who, why, and where, and what you're dealing with, and help you to conduct yourself accordingly. And remember that the addict will always benefit from us getting healthier and having better boundaries. And so, even though that's a gradual process, because when we get boundaries, it produces consequences for the addicts in our lives because we're changing. So people, they despair. They're like, oh, he needs fixing or she needs fixing. And how do I fix the addict? And I say, well, we didn't get here overnight and let's fix you. And if we fix, the beautiful thing about working on ourselves is the minute we work on ourselves, it has an immediate impact on everyone around us. That's the beauty of it, is we're so important. We don't have to play God and control people. We just have to exercise self-control. So if you work on self-control, it is a gradual process. And there's a natural sequence of events that comes in that has an impact on the other people in the household. And there's a dynamic going on. There's a dynamic that's been there before, at times from your generations before. There's been some stuff going on, and you're doing business with it, you're transacting business with it, and it can't be done, overnight. It's a process. It is, and it's a process you have to, you got to embrace it. So here we go, April 19th. Learning about addiction has helped me to find serenity after years of struggling. Sorry. I now see that addicts have a disease. They are ill, not bad. By attending Al-Anon meetings on a regular basis, reading Al-Anon conference approved literature, and sitting in open AA meetings, I have gained some insight into what is and is not reasonable to expect when dealing with a gaming addict. I've learned that I have the ability to adjust my expectations so that I no longer set myself up for a constant disappointment. For instance, I have stopped expecting a gaming addict to keep every promise. This makes my life more manageable. The knowledge I gain in Al-Anon has dispersed many of my fears and made room for newfound compassion. I see that I am not the only one with good ideas, valid criticisms, and noble motives. Today's reminder, learning about the disease of addiction can help me become more realistic about a loved one's illness and thus make better choices for myself. The quote is, I have learned techniques for dealing with the addict so that I can develop a relationship with the person behind the disease. And that's from Al-Anon Faces Alcoholism. Yeah, we don't ever want to dehumanize the addict. When I say that word, I think of like, that's the thing that we're wrestling with. We're wrestling with addiction. And, what we want to do is get to the human being that's behind the addiction. And that's the challenge. That's the challenge. This is a tricky one, very tricky. So remember, also, I just want to say, we too are stuck developmentally. Our thinking can get stuck. We can be regressed in our own development. We're all such children. We all have issues. So just stay focused on you and what's going on with the addict in your life will slowly but surely become clearer. It'll come into focus. But it's like if we're down there in the mud wrestling with them and we're all covered with mud, you can't figure out who's the problem and how to solve the problem. You got to clean yourself up and stay out of the muck. All right. And then if your eyes are clean, your vision is clear, your mind and heart are clear, you'll have a better idea about what to do and how to respond to the addict in your life and this terrible, terrible thing, gaming addiction. Blessings on your day.